uh, let me know my screen is keep changing or not.
Yes, sir, it's changing.
Okay, perfect. So this session is typically we have kept for the sustainability carbon footprint assessment, and today is a very burning requirement for all the EHS professionals. How they calculate the carbon footprints, how they assess the carbon footprints. And nothing is new. All the EHS professionals are doing since long in this regard. But yes, few things we have to be understand. So for that, Mr. Anshu will take over this session after I just finish my introductory slides. So this is my duty to brief about the organization. So we are advisory and consulting organization, including audit in the different areas of the environment, health and safety services. We are very young. It's already 4 years old organization. And I personally work in multiple organizations. Number of the persons who joined over here knows me. But just for their information, I served almost 22 years in industry. Covered FMCG, auto, pharma, bulk drugs, sugar, distillery, and few more. My last work was with Dabur India Limited as a corporate head EHS, and sustainability was responsible for entire Pan India and SAARC countries for the sustainability and environmental health and safety compliances. I was the core committee member for Plastic Waste Management Regulation Framework Constitution in 2015 onwards, and we have made that regulation at CPCB level as well as state level too. So moving forward, as this is advisory, consulting, and audit organization. We have a corporate office at Delhi, NCR, Ghaziabad, and we have two other offices. One is in Indore, where Anshu leads that location, and one is in Haridwar. So our goal is to basically to serve the industries to the different our expertise, and whatever is we know, we have to be give to them. And we have a very clear vision and philosophy for constantly introduce the new revolutionary concepts in the field of EHS and sustainability. Uh, in last 2 years, we have been listed as a 10 most promising workplace or consultancy in the field of environment, health and safety services, awarded by the different organizations, including MSME. We have also patent in the field of smart dustbin, which is a IoT based smart household dustbin. Recently, it is has been awarded. So we are working on that to work with the different institutions and organizations. If anyone is interested, let us know so that we can support to your organization as well. We are very much specific while we are providing the services because we are very much young, 4 years old, but very trustful. It shows credentials which we have and services which we have provided to the different organization. We are very much fast but accurate. We are very much expensive as well, but because we don't follow any shortcuts. So this is what we are in short. This is our core team. Those are working on the different projects, different areas, different things. So we are covering on the effluent treatment designing part. Then Dr. Nigam, Dr. Gore is basically taking care all the effluent treatment systems designing and implementation. Then Dr. S.K. Nigam, maybe number of the persons knows about the Dr. S.K. Nigam. Is the person who has drafted plastic waste management rule and solid waste management rule in 2009 onwards. So he is on our board and supporting us on this part. Dr. Chakrabarti is additional director from the Central Groundwater Board. So we are supporting to the industries on the different innovative aspects on the groundwater management. Dr. Joshi is a plastic and polymer expert, and many of are here. You can refer all those things. So with our core team, Apurva, Rashmi, Pushpendra, and Anshu as well. So in short, not to taking too much time, we are working on the sustainability, including BRSR, GRI, and other accounting aspects. We have a capacity to work almost 22 states on the different environment, health and safety compliances, including wastewater, statutory compliance, and legal licensing. We have a very good hand on the solid waste management, and day-to-day basis new solid waste management practices being evolved by the government. So plastic, municipal, battery, e-waste you may be heard, but soon tire waste, battery scrap policy is also in the pipeline. Already started for the implementation. So waste management is very bright area and future for the youngsters to understand the to make the career in the solid waste management specifically. And groundwater is also one of the core area where we are teaching and supporting to the services, different services. Audit trainings on the industrial safety and environmental part continuously we are doing. Industrial safety is a very independent vertical and supporting to the industries as per their requirement. Also, we are providing different manpower, skilled manpower on the EHS part so that we can bring down the cost of the companies, due supported by our backend team. So, this gives a quality work to the industry. And last, we are publishing EHSS regulatory newsletter as well. It is a every 15 days we are publishing, because being a EHS fellows, you may be aware, if you are not aware or updated about the new regulations and their interpretation, you may be out from the system. You can't suggest to the management about the new regulations and its interpretation. So we are publishing in a very short and crisp way different regulations and news articles, not newspaper articles, but specifically government guidelines or center and state government guidelines. So we are covering all the states in that, including center. So if anyone is interested, kindly subscribe this newsletter. It will help you a lot. So this is in short. I am not taking too much time on detailing about all the services, so I am skipping all the slides over here. We'll share this presentation to you so that you may be benefited. And in last, we are supporting to the youngsters, young fellows, and the persons who want to understand industry in detail by providing a free, almost free course naming Suryodaya. It's only a registration fees of 500 rupees. Otherwise, this course is entirely free, and the purpose of this course is to educate, to brief about the environment, health, safety, and sustainability aspects to the students, to the youngsters, and the persons who want to be more understand about these subjects. So already we have past two batches in this regard, and almost I think 65% already we have certified in this initiative. So if anyone in your connect, if you want to be joined, kindly be connected with Ms. Kevna. She will give you all the details about that course. I think next course, Kevna, is when we have planned.
It's in August.
August. So next course is in August. So it's a 5 days course, 2 days per day we spend to the participants. So that's why I'm trying to explain. And last day is to check whether you understand what we have explained you as a question answer session. And so this is what about the Suryodaya. So please be in touch and refer this course to the other needy students. So these are our core clientele to whom we are serving on the different aspects of the environment, health, safety, and sustainability part. Uh, we are serving almost all type of the industrial sectors, whether it's IT, whether it's FMCG, bulk drugs, pharmaceuticals, packaging industries, right? Environmental compliances industries. So we are covering almost all the industries in this short journey of 4 years of this organization, and we will continue in this regard. So thanks for uh, listening to me, and now I will forward to the Kevna to take this session forward. Thank you, Kevna. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arya. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Anshu. Mr. Anshu has worked in the Indian Navy for the 15 years. He majorly involved with the handling of aircrafts and other associated operational, environmental, fire, emergency responses, health and safety aspects. Within a short span of his professional career, he has provided strategic environment, social, health and safety support to several MNC clients while delivering projects in association with various PMCs. So I would like to hand over the session to the Mr. Anshu to take forward with this webinar topic. Mr. Anshu, please.
Thank you, Kevna. Thank you, Dr. Sir, Priyank sir, for the introduction of EHS services and what we are doing and how we are helping our clients in their particular sustainable journey. So I will just briefly start the session with the I'll just share the content with you. Just share. Okay, I hope the screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, so we will start with the greenhouse gases. So I will just try to be a very simple.
If you just hide, just remove that hide is coming on the screen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So today's topic is greenhouse gas and what is the carbon credit system. We are going to understand what are the different types of greenhouse gases available in our atmosphere and which type of gases are being the most responsible for the climate change. What is sustainable practices? What are the different carbon credit systems, carbon credits, and the terms associated with this particular system. So I would be very straightforward. I would like to ask which language would be very easy or beneficial for all. I would like to we can.
Anshu, your signal is a bit weak. Anshu, your signal is a bit weak. Your voice is not coming well.
Okay. Would you like to this session to be in English or Hindi? First question is.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
My voice is breaking. Just wait, please. Now it is better.
Yes, so it's better now.
Okay. So I would just like to ask from the contestants or the participants that the session should be in English or Hindi. Please share it in the comment box.
So both the languages comfortable, people are saying.
Okay. So I think Hindi would be better so that each and every person can understand the basic things, right? I would start in the Hindi language. Okay. So basic आज के हमारा जो discussion है that is on greenhouse gas और carbon credit system. What is greenhouse gas and what is carbon credit system? So हमारा आज का objective रहेगा कि हम पहले अंडरस्टैंड करेंगे कि व्हाट इज ग्रीन हाउस गैस और जीएचजी. कई जगह पर ग्रीन हाउस गैस बोलते हैं, किसी किसी जगह पर उसको हम कार्बन भी बोलते हैं, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. सो ओके, सो आई हैव जस्ट रिसीव्ड एन मैसेज फॉर इंग्लिश ओनली. राइट, सो आई विल जस्ट ट्राई टू mix the language in Hindi and English so that all of you can understand. Right? तो आज का हमारा टॉपिक जो है वो ग्रीन हाउस गैस है. इसमें हम फर्स्ट समझेंगे व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन अदर गैसेस एंड ग्रीन हाउस गैस. देन हम उसके बाद समझेंगे व्हाट इज ग्रीन हाउस गैस असेसमेंट, हम उसको असेस कैसे करते हैं, व्हाट आर द एक्टिविटीज. ओके, so what are the activities which are appropriate to reduce the carbon footprint or the GHG emissions of our company or organization, and what is we will have a basic introduction about the carbon credits, what are the key terms and definitions which are being used in the whole system, and how we can calculate the carbon credits within our organization so that it can help us to become carbon neutral for the benefit of the environment. So these are our modules. We will have the 3 modules today. First one is sustainability and climate change. The second would be the how we can calculate greenhouse gas emissions, and third would be the introduction about the carbon credits and its calculations. So let's move on to the first module, that is sustainability and climate change. How many of you know what is sustainability? Can you just share it in the comment box? What is sustainability for you? Please comment. Yeah, so Mr. Abhirup Nandiji has written long run approach, right? Then the other one, responsible use of resources, right? Somewhat right. Natural resources, right? Each resource, Atulji, we can use resources only. We should be very much able to use all the, right. So I'm getting very good responses from different types of persons. Apurva Sahu has written independent without. Rishikesh Mali has written yeah, right. So as the Rishikesh Malaji and some other person have written that it is sustainability is basically to develop or to, yeah, very good. I think the lot of persons in our team today knows what is sustainability. So basically it is to continue our development without harming harming the nature and without compromising the ability of future generations to use the natural resources for their own goods. So basically this definition is being adopted by United Nations. We should there are a lot of things which are related to sustainability. We should be able to be a positive impact company, or we should be able to provide some positive impact to the planet, to the environmental resources, to the people, to the personnel who are in and around our organization, and at the same time we should be having some good governance, or you can say we should be having some good financial benefit of our organization. If all these three things are not available in a particular organization, then that company cannot be said as a sustainable organization. The company should be providing good performance to the environmental aspects also. They should be very much addressable to the needs of environment in and around their organization. They should be having some measurements of their impacts on the different activities of theirs. They should see the welfare of their own employees, of their different types of stakeholders, even if they are not working in their company. And at the same time, they should be having good governance, transparent governance. The persons who are being placed at the different management levels should be having good knowledge, qualifications, and the ability to perform in different levels and different situations. So all these things, PPP, you can say planet, people, profit, you can say ESG, environmental, social and governance, all this should be taken into the consideration while working or for your production and other operational activities. So basically ESG, environmental, social and governance are the three basic pillars of sustainability. These are the basic ESG, what I have told you. Economic development should be there. It should be very inclusive. You should be having different types of members, different types of organizations, or different types of small groups working with your organization. You should be totally educate your team so that they can maintain the environmental quality, they can maintain the reduce the environmental pollution and improve your performance. Similarly, they should be having some social equality, there should be inclusion of different types of groups, there should be justice within your organization, there should be some code of conduct, there should not be any unlawful activities, and the compliance should be always 100% for your organization. If your organization is doing all these three things at the same time, then they can be working or developing on a long run and can become a sustainable organization. So as we have already discussed, the sustainability is the ability or capacity of something to be maintained for a long time or on a longer run, so that it can sustain on itself. It should not be dependent on any one person, one entity, one resource or anything other. There should be always substitute for each and everything in a sustainable organization. Similarly, a sustainable development means you should be doing your personal or organization development, but you should not bother or you should not hamper the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This particular definition is being adopted by United Nations. Now, what are the benefits of sustainability? There are many benefits in the during the sustainable development of any organization. If you have a good organization who are doing good things in environmental, social and governance part, then your company's reputation will be improved. There would be better mitigation or management of the risk within your organization. The customer retention rate would be very better. Your company's brand would be a very good thing. Then there would be new research and development always within your organization, so that you can provide innovation and competitiveness within the market in the local area also and abroad also. Then the operational efficiency would be better. You may reduce your cost on a longer run. There are chances that the cost would be higher on a short term, on a 1 or 2 year basis, but on a longer run, the cost saving would be definitely there. If you invest in the sustainable supply chain also, then surely there would be a very cost efficient supply chain. For example, if you invest in an EV based supply chain of yours, then initially there would be a lot of cost, but on a longer run, it would help your organization to cut the cost of fuel, and at the same time, it would be very beneficial for your organization to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. Similarly, you will have a good access to the capitals, as you all know. Similar to the CIBIL score which we have on a personal basis, there are some ESG scorings or sustainability scorings are there across the globe. And if you have a good number on the ESG metrics, then there would be a lot of investors would be happy to provide you investment on a lesser amount of interest. There would be better relations with the regulations. You would be having a good compliance record, always well maintained compliance management system would be there. The sustainable infrastructure or the buildings which you have will have some other benefits like cooler atmosphere within your organization, and there will be lot of things you can do on a regular basis, and you would be more adaptable as an organization or as an individual if you are using the ESG metrics, the sustainability criteria within your organization. Yes, I have a question. Is somebody raised your hand? Eco-friendly was there something. Okay, so these are the basic 17 sustainable development goals which have been. Yes, Atulji, Atul Kumar Singh. Yes, Atul Kumar Singh, you are raising your hand.
No, sorry, it's pressed by mistake.
Okay. So these are the 17 sustainable development goals which are being adopted by United Nations for till 2030. They are reviewing all these sustainable development goals on an yearly basis, on which we are doing good, on which we are lacking, or even they are providing the reports on the country basis also. So these 17 goals are up to 2030. After the 2030, they will United Nations will again review all these goals and try to give some amendment in this particular SDGs. So these 17 sustainable development goals are being worked all over the world. Even the BRSR, that is Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting of SEBI India standard, is also working on all these 17 development goals. They have different 9 principles, and each principle is having is considering some or other goals at the same time. So if you are also working as a company on BRSR and trying to adopt BRSR principles within your organizations, then definitely you are in line with this SDGs. Now, this is the biggest threat. What we are achieving is climate change. Nowadays, we have seen a lot of things across the world, that there are regular droughts, there are regular floods, there are extreme heat. There have been a very much heat wave within India also in the last couple of months. We have seen around 52 degrees centigrade in Delhi itself, and somewhere in Sri Ganganagar and other areas also. So if we are not going to restrict our greenhouse gas emissions or carbon emissions, then definitely the day is not too far that we may see 60 or 65 degrees centigrade of temperature in summers. And similarly, extreme cold waves during the winters and heavy rains, extremely heavy rains and floods in the rainy season. So all these are basically the effect of climate change. And the whole thing which we are discussing today itself, and like the greenhouse gas, what are the carbon credit system, and all these are basically incorporated to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions or to restrict the emissions. If we are emitting some carbon emission at one place, then there is a system that we should be having a project or something like that, so that we can reduce or we can absorb the same similar amount of emission elsewhere. Because in this globalized world, if you are doing something bad at one place, then it will impact at the other corner or other pole of the earth also. If somebody is emitting a lot of carbon dioxide in Europe, then it will definitely impact in India also, and vice versa. So all these things have to be taken care of, and the most important or imminent danger which we are facing right now is climate change. So to start with, what is climate change? What are the different things we should understand? Is first greenhouse gas. We are we are hearing in the news, in very different, in the topics, in the debates, in the webinars, seminars, what is greenhouse gas? So basically there are 7 types of gas: carbon dioxide, CH4, N2O, ozone, CFCs, HFCs, PFCs and SFCs. All these are greenhouse gases as per the Kyoto Protocol. And all these gases has the ability to absorb infrared radiation, and they keep that particular radiation within their atomic structure and remain in the atmosphere for a longer term. So they have the ability to capture the heat, and similarly they increase the temperature of the lower atmosphere and so on. So once any light or any heat, sunlight is coming down to the earth, it doesn't get reflected back in the outer space. Those molecules of GHG gases absorb the heat and capture and absorb the heat so that it remains here, and the temperature of the atmosphere increases on a regular basis. So these are the gases which impact most to us. We need to reduce the emission of all these gases and should increase the absorption of GHGs. So just write down or pen down this, that these are the main gases which are the culprit of the climate change. So we have to mitigate or address these particular gases. Now, what is climate change? The significant change in the measure of climate lasting for an extended period of time is called climate change. That means the temperature of the atmosphere is rising on a regular basis. Yes, ozone is the greenhouse gas.
Yeah, Anshu, please continue. We'll take the questions end of the session.
Okay. So the atmospheric temperature is being raised on a regular basis, and within the last century or more than in the last 5 or 6 decades only, the temperature has been risen across the world on an average is around 0.5 to 0.8 degrees centigrade. And after the industrial revolution, it has been something around 1.2 degrees centigrade, and we are on a track to achieve the overall average rise in the temperature of about 1.5 degrees centigrade by 2035 or 2040. But our main target was to achieve 1.5 degrees centigrade by the end of this century. That is by 2100. So if we are reaching this mark of 1.5 degrees centigrade by 2035 or let's say by 2040 or 2050, then we are in a very dangerous situation. We should control this to at least 1 degree centigrade. Already we have reached that. So in this condition, there would be very severe heat waves, regular floods and regular droughts across the world. There are eminent, or you can say 100% chances of getting all the coastal cities to be flooded with seawater. So this is the very critical situation for us. What is global warming? It is basically the recent and global average increase in the temperature of the Earth's surface is the global warming. And as per the President of United Nations, the area or the time of global warming has already been passed. We are basically in the era of global boiling. So there is difference between warming and boiling. Warming has already been passed. We are in a very critical situation right now as per the United Nations President and the different scientists across the world. Now, what is global warming potential? So basically it is an index which shows that how much of infrared thermal radiation can be captured by a particular greenhouse gas and for how much time it will be available, or you can say it will be there in our atmosphere. So if a particular atom of a gas is having an X amount of potential to absorb the radiation and will be available for Y years or Y time in our atmosphere, then the global warming potential would be X into Y of that particular gas atom. So in this type, we can understand or we can calculate the global warming potential of a particular gas. Now, what are the mitigation actions for this? There are many things which we can do by reducing the emission of greenhouse gases, by reducing our dependability on fossil fuels, by reducing, or you can say by efficient usage of natural resources, by not wasting the food items which are basically grown by extensive use of water. Water is very important for us. We should not waste water and other products which are being produced naturally or artificially. We should be very responsible in the usage and the wastage part of any natural resources. These are the basic things, basic etiquettes which should be having in our day-to-day activities as an organization also and as an individual also, so that we can do our little bit in the mitigation of climate change or in the minimization of global warming. There are many different things which can be done as an individual also and as an organization, and at the same time there are many countries which are doing very good things by planting a lot of trees, millions of trees in their region, by doing different types of compliances, by making different types of rules and regulations for the organizations, so that they have to put efforts towards the mitigation measures of greenhouse gases emissions and different types of things. Like in India only, we have started BRSR reporting. We have started extended producers responsibility for plastic waste management, for lubricant oil, for the tire, for the batteries and all things. So all these are basically small steps towards a bigger goal or to mitigate the climate change impact. So as I've already told you, what is the greenhouse gas and what are the effects. So it is basically the present pictorial representation of the greenhouse gas impact. As you can say, there are some rays which come across the atmosphere to the surface of Earth from Sun. Some part of it gets already reflected by the atmosphere. Then some enters our atmosphere and reaches our ground level, and it should be reflected back in the outer space. But due to the presence of greenhouse gas, or you can say due to the presence of extra greenhouse gas in our atmosphere, those reflected rays get captured by these particles like CO2 and other gases, and it remains inside our atmosphere only. So this light or this heat which was supposed to be reflected back in the outer atmosphere remains back in our atmosphere, and it increases the temperature, or it increases on a global level. What are the impacts of the climate change and global warming? So climate change is having very different types of negative impacts on our daily basis. Like it would surely impact the food security, the availability of water, the cities. As I told you that the coastal cities are going to be flooded with seawater. Coastal lines are already shrinking. The public health is on a daily basis, due to severe heat waves and cold waves, are being getting impacted on a negative part. So these are the different types of impacts, negative impacts basically you can say. These are the basic source of greenhouse gas emissions in the gigatons on CO2 equivalent. So the major part of greenhouse gas emission or carbon footprint is the electricity, the energy which we use. Therefore, it is very said that you should save electricity, and once you are saving electricity, then it will somehow help the our atmosphere to reduce the impact, reduce the greenhouse gases which are being emitted during making the electricity at thermal power plant or any other power plant. So you should be very much efficient in reducing the electricity usage. Energy is the most important part of our daily life, and we should save it. Then there are other things also, like land transport, industries and agriculture. All these have its own percentage in the GHG emissions, but the major part is the energy. So we have the control of these emissions. We can control this climate change, but surely it will take a lot of time. As Dr. Priyanka Arya already has shared a post on LinkedIn a couple of days before, or I think yesterday itself, that it will take a lot of time to be normal if we stop total emission on today basis. So we cannot do that, but yes, it will take a lot of time to be normalized, and we should start today itself. We have the control of that thing in our own. Now the burning question is how we can do, where we can start from, what should I do and why should I do, and who will be the things involved. These are the many questions in the minds of organization and the persons itself, that how we can do. So you can ask us, or you can try your own things, how we can try to mitigate your environmental impact, basically the one which are more negative or which needs serious attention. So now we have understood what is basic sustainable development, what is the climate change, and what are the impacts. Now we are going to understand what are the different types of greenhouse gases and how we can calculate our own greenhouse gas footprint. So this is again the same thing which I have already briefed you about, what is GHG, how it gets enter in our atmosphere, the heat is trapped, and all these things are already been covered. So these are the gases which are most important for us, and the biggest one of them is the CO2. There are very different types of potential of each gas, and the percentage of involvement in the climate change is as per this picture. Most important gas which we should be bothered about is CO2, carbon dioxide, then CH4, N2O, HFCs, PFCs, and SFCs. So these are the basic gases which are the culprits of climate change. Carbon dioxide gas is the most important things we should be concerned about, and the activities which are involved in the emission of carbon dioxide are transportations, fossil fuel combustion by the different activities of ours, and the coal and crude oil. So these are the basic things we should be reducing at our organization and at an individual level also. So this graph shows the global warming potential of gases, different types of gases. As you can see, the least amount of global warming potential is carbon dioxide is having. If you can understood this thing, it would be very important for you that carbon dioxide is having the least amount of global warming potential among all the 6 greenhouse gases. That is 1. The methane is having 30 global warming potential. Nitrous oxide is having 300, and different types of fluorinated gases, CFCs, HFCs, and SFCs. These are the fluorinated gases which are being used in air conditions, basically. So these gases is having a global warming potential of more than 1000 and up to 10,000. So you can understand what is the difference between these gases. But at the same time, the amount of time for which these gases remain in the atmosphere is totally vice versa. That means these fluorinated gases which are having a very high global warming potential remains in the atmosphere for a very short span of time, and the percentage of the overall GHG gases is very small. That is almost 2% of the whole gases. And the carbon dioxide is having the most number of percentage in the GHG gases, that is around 76%. And it is the one thing, it is the only gas which would be remaining in our atmosphere for a longer term, for you can say hundreds of years. So even if it is, the global warming potential is very low, but it would be there in our atmosphere for a longer term. Therefore, it is the most important gas. Other gases have their own global warming potential, but they do not have the life in our atmosphere for a longer term. So this is the main reason why we interchangeably use the word global house gases to carbon dioxide. If we are talking about global greenhouse gases, then at the same time it refers to carbon dioxide. And if we are talking about carbon dioxide, at the same time it refers to greenhouse gases. So it is used interchangeably. Do not get confused in carbon and in the greenhouse gas. Now, when we are going to calculate these greenhouse gases of ours, there are different types of methodologies available. How can we identify our GHGs? How can we assess these gases? So one is production based accounting, in which we calculate the amount of direct and indirect emissions as per the different rules. First one is national consumption and trade. There are basic steps or basic emission factors which are being given on a national level, that burning a fuel for 1 liter of petrol would be having this amount of greenhouse gases. Burning 1 liter of diesel would be emitting this much amount of GHGs. Similarly, so all this, while assessing, or you can say inventorying our GHGs, we use this national consumption and trade factors. And for the indirect emissions, we have to identify the operations which are emitting the carbons at our organization. So we have to calculate both these things. And on the consumption basis accounting, we have to, on a real time, understood how much of input we are taking and how much of output we are giving. So we have to manage the input and output part. We have to compare the sectoral approach which is being provided by greenhouse gas protocol, and it is basically mostly used across the world among the corporates and even the governments. So consumption based accounting is having a major share in the accounting of GHGs and carbon footprints across the world. So there are different types of standards available across the globe. GHG protocol is the one standard which is mostly used by the nations and by the MNCs. So greenhouse gas protocol is the most widely used international accounting tool for government and businesses across the world, and there are different institutes on a international level, like World Resource Institute and World Business Council and some other institutions of United Nations have came across, and as per the ISO 14064 part 1, they have made a method, or they have provided some guidelines in the GHG protocol which are to be followed to assess, to identify and to calculate the carbon footprint of your organization. It is very simplified version, and it reduces the cost of inventories, and it basically provides information on a regular basis. It gets reviewed on a periodically. Yes, we will have the questions at the last part, Karthik ji, in the last 20 minutes of also. Okay. So this GHG protocol is being reviewed on a regular basis, and they are providing the revised versions of theirs. We have to check their website on a regular basis, so that if there is any particular information about the emission source or the emission factor of any particular things, so we have to be consistent with that. And if we are going to use the GHG protocol inventory, then it is very much transparent, because each and every organization across the world understands about this, and they gives weightage to the GHG protocols factors. So when calculating your emission factors, you should be referring to GHG protocol as per my experience. So these are the basic different types of standards recommended by GHG protocol. On a international level, there are global reporting initiatives, Equator Principles, CDPs, ISO standards. All these standards which are being recognized by different types of countries, different industries across sectors. They prefer GHG protocols for their carbon emissions accounting. Even the Airport Carbon Accreditation, CDPs, World Travel Tourism Council, IFC, that is International Finance Corporation, Equator Principles, and the GRI. So if you are going to report your sustainability as per these standards, you should be following GHG protocol only. So now let's understand what are the different types of emissions there in the greenhouse gases. The first one we should be knowing that is different types of scopes. So there are basically, as per the GHG protocol, there are 3 types of scopes available. First is scope 1, that is direct emissions. So whichever fuel or whichever operation your organization is owning, that means if you are having a fleet of transport within your organization and they are emitting X amount of greenhouse gases, then that amount of greenhouse gas would be in the, yes, I will check this chat afterwards. So that particular thing would be in the scope 1 of your organization. Then as per in the Indian context, the purchased electricity comes under the scope 2 only. So in the Indian context, scope 2 have only electricity which is being purchased through power grids or the state electricity boards comes in scope 2 indirect emission. And there is some other indirect emissions are also there, like the daily transportation of employees through other vehicles, the business travel of our employees for different types of activities, waste disposal, then the contractors emissions, then the value chain emissions. All these emissions comes in the scope 3. So scope 1 is direct emission, scope 2 and 3 both are indirect emissions. But the difference is scope 2 is having electricity part only, and all the remaining indirect emissions comes under the scope 3 of your organizations. So I hope it is very clear that we should be calculating our greenhouse gases in direct and indirect emissions, and in the indirect part there are 2 different parts, scope 2 and scope 3. This picture is very good to help you understand what are the different scopes we are having during the reporting. So let's understood what is scope 1. Whenever anyone is asking about the carbon footprint or GHG footprint of your organization, then they are mandatorily using the word scope 1 or direct emission. There are different types of things which we do at our organization, like we use generators, we use transportation facilities. If it is owned by our own company, then the diesel consumption in boilers, biomass consumption in the boilers, gas consumption, refrigerant leakages from the air conditions, from the chillers and all. Then the different types of gases like anesthesia gases which is used in hospitals, all the CO2 extinguishers which we use at our organizations. So all these are direct emissions, and it comes under the scope 1 of the inventory of ours as per the GHG protocol. Now, when we are reporting our GHG emissions, it is scope 2 is also mandatory. You have to provide the emissions which are being emitted by your organization's usage of electricity by the local authorities or by the shared generator or even by the open access platforms. So there are different types of data which have to be maintained, that how much amount of electricity which we are using through power grid, through state electricity board, through generator and through renewable energy sources also. So this is also mandatory by each and every organization. Now there is the scope 3, that is indirect emission. It is basically, sometimes it is required, sometimes it is not required. But to be on a sustainable, as a sustainable development organization, you should be calculating your scope 3 emission, because it is the most important one which you should be catering or mitigating. There are a lot of flight trips are there, business travels are there, there are a lot of paper consumptions are there, there are a lot of food and water wastage are there, there are a lot of employees commuting on a daily basis, and different types of value chain emissions are there in any organization. So it is the most important and most vast part of your organization. You should be calculating this scope 3 indirect emission. There are many stakeholders involved in this, like your vendors, your travel partners, travel agents, the hotel partners, the transport partners, the different types of your consumers, all your raw material suppliers, vendors. All these are the part of scope 3 part emission. So it is very difficult. The most difficult part of the GHG emission is assessment is this scope 3. So you should be trying to reach out with all your vendors and suppliers to get their emissions calculated, get the data from them, and try to help them, so that help and train them so that they can understand the requirement of these data. So it is very important to train them. Now, how we can reduce these GHG emissions? Like we should be linking different types of costs with the GHG emissions, so that we can have a real-time data. We can understand what is happening and where we can try to minimize the GHG emissions. We should be having monthly variation checks. We can understand that in this month, this particular data is on a higher side, and in this particular month, this data is on a lower side. So we can understand the gap, and we can try to reduce the amount of in the month where it is getting on a higher side. Similarly, we can modify different types of process. For example, if we have a diesel generator at our organization, we can try to convert it into the gas generator by calculating the ROI and the different types of things involved in that. So this type of things are being done at different organizations and different levels. Even if there are some organizations in my contact who are asking their vendors to get converted from petrol or diesel cars to the CNG cars, or even from petrol and diesel cars to the EV cars. So this type of initiatives are being taken at the organizational level. So you can be a part of that. You can modify different types of process. You can conduct regular audits of waste material, of water, of energy, of paper, and this type of things, so that you can reduce the wastage and improve the efficiency of these resources. You can implement different types of activities. You can get the energy from renewable energy sources. You can do carbon sequestration, and you can do carbon offset of your emissions also. So these are the basic initiatives, some type of initiatives which you can. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I should just clarify to the attendees, in the scope 1, other than the fuel consumption, any type of fuel which we are consuming, is water withdrawal, water consumption, water pollution, and different types of the waste generation will cover under scope 1? Or we have any?
Waste generation would be in the scope 3 part.
And what about the wastewater and water consumption?
Yeah, it is also in the scope 3. Yes, Rishikesh ji. I think we can have the discussion in the last. So these are the basic initiatives which we can take at our organizational level. So these are the graphs which you can show at your management level or the different types of presentation if you are calculating your assessment on a regular basis, that look, we were at this level in 2012, now we are decreasing regularly, and we have the targets of this particular emission target for our organization. We can show the pie chart that this much amount of part is being provided, this much amount of GHG is being assessed by emitted by the electricity, or this much by natural gas, or this much by diesel, and this type of things you can provide to your management so that they can understood and they can plan their reduction initiatives accordingly. So these type of things have to be there in your portfolio. Now, the main part which we are discussing, going to discuss today, is the third module, that is carbon credit system. What are the different terminologies being used and how we can calculate the carbon emission of ours. So let's understand what are carbon credits. So basically, a carbon credit is nothing but a calculation of the carbon emissions, all the GHG emissions which we have emitted at within our organization, and if we are going to try, Abhirupji, we will take all these questions after 15 to 20 minutes. I think 15-20 minutes part is remaining. So if we have emitted 1 metric ton of carbon by our different activities, then we have -1 of carbon credit. And to become a carbon neutral, we should be buying 1 one carbon credit from other organization which is in positive. Okay, so a carbon credit represents 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide or GHG emission which is either removed from the atmosphere or avoided. इसका एक एग्जांपल मैं आपको देता हूँ. Like I was using diesel generator for electricity in my organization, and I was emitting 25 metric tons of carbon dioxide within my organization itself. So I was in minus 25 carbon credits at that level. Okay. Then just to become a carbon neutral, I would purchase 25 carbon credits from a renewable energy player or renewable energy power producer, since they are producing that much amount of electricity without emitting carbon dioxide. So they have that much amount of carbon credit with them. I will purchase that credit from them and give some monetary benefits to that organization, and will buy carbon credits from them, and I will become neutral. So in this manner, I have provided some financial help
Charts
to the
consider? There are questions, right? There are questions in the
Chat.
Ravi Shankar ji. Okay. So basically, the carbon credit system works on the minus and plus part. If you are generating emission at one place and you are getting the reduction or the avoidance of carbon at other place, then it will get neutralized by buying or some other things. So this is basically carbon market for you. So carbon credit is nothing but a representation of 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide which you have either removed by your activities or either avoided by doing some innovative thing or getting some project done at other place. So what is net zero? It is basically the balance. हमें बैलेंस करना है कि हमने कहीं पे कार्बन को एमिट किया है बहुत ज्यादा और हमने दूसरी जगह पे कार्बन को रिड्यूस कर दिया है, या फिर हमने कहीं पे दूसरी जगह पे कार्बन को एब्जॉर्ब किया है, कोई हमने ऐसे एक्टिविटी की है जिसकी वजह से कार्बन रिड्यूस हो गया है. हम कहीं पे बहुत ज्यादा ऐसा काम कर रहे थे जहाँ पे कार्बन बहुत ज्यादा एमिशन हो रहा था और दूसरी जगह पे हमने कोई ऐसी एक्टिविटी की जिससे कि फॉर एग्जांपल हमने plantation किया, we have done plantation for at one place, then at that place we should calculate that yes, this much amount of trees which we have planted and it has the ability to remove this much amount of carbon from the atmosphere. So in this way we can become a net zero. So we have to balance the reduction with the absorption of carbon. So there is basically difference between net zero and carbon neutral. Now what is carbon neutral? एग्जाम्पल के लिए हमने किसी एक जगह पे कुछ एक्टिविटी किया जहाँ पर कार्बन एमिशन हुआ, देन हम उतने ही अमाउंट का कार्बन एमिशन को जो हमने किया है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल 20 टन हमने कार्बन एमिशन किया है, वी हैव डन 20 टन्स ऑफ कार्बन एमिशन, देन वी हैव टू रिमूव और गेट द ऑफसेट फ्रॉम अदर प्लेयर, फ्रॉम एनी अदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. इवन वी कैन टेक दिस कार्बन क्रेडिट फ्रॉम अदर कंट्री ऑल्सो, लाइक भूटान. भूटान में बहुत ज्यादा पेड़ हैं, वो लोग और भी ज्यादा पेड़ लगा रहे हैं, दे आर डूइंग अ लॉट ऑफ प्लांटेशन, दे आर बेसिकली कार्बन पॉजिटिव. वहां पर कार्बन एमिशन इतना नहीं होता है जितना दे आर गेटिंग द एब्जॉर्प्शन बाय देयर प्लांटेशंस. so they are basically having more carbon credits with them. बट इसमें एक चीज ये है कि हमें प्रोजेक्ट लगाने से पहले, फॉर एग्जाम्पल हमने कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट लगाते हैं, वी शुड बी गेटिंग रजिस्टर्ड इन एनी वन ऑफ द रजिस्ट्रीज. दुनिया में अभी मैं आपको आगे बताऊंगा बहुत सारी रजिस्ट्रीज अवेलेबल हैं. तो अगर हम कोई ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट लगाते हैं जहां पर जिससे कि या तो हम कार्बन को रिमूव कर रहे हैं, लाइक हमने पेड़ लगाया, प्लांटेशन किया जिससे कि कार्बन एमिशन खत्म होगा, या फिर हमने रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी प्लांट लगाया जिससे कि कार्बन का जो अवॉइडेंस होगा, मतलब कार्बन एमिशन होता अगर मैं इतना ज्यादा एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस करता, बट सिंस मैं रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस कर रहा हूं तो अवॉइड कर रहा हूं, मैं कार्बन एनर्जी में उतनी ही प्रोड्यूस कर रहा हूं बट आई एम नॉट emitting that much amount of carbon. So I will get carbon credits from the registry. Then I have the power that I can existing projects can also claim, but it is very difficult nowadays. So when जब हमने कोई प्रोजेक्ट लगाया उसके बाद हमने रजिस्ट्री में बताया कि yes you can check, we have done this much amount of thing, now you can give me just come and verify. उसके बाद वो वेरीफाई करेगा, फिर आपको एक सर्टिफिकेट देगा कि आपकी एक्टिविटी की वजह से दिस मच अमाउंट ऑफ एमिशन हैव बीन अवॉइडेड और एमिशन हैव बीन एब्जॉर्ब. तो वो आपका जो एमिशन होगा, कार्बन क्रेडिट जो होगा, वो आप किसी दूसरे क्लाइंट को, किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को, इवन आप किसी कंट्री को बेच सकते हैं, सेल कर सकते हैं, एंड दे कैन बिकम carbon neutral by getting those credits. So this is the basic system of the carbon credit. This is how they become carbon neutral. Okay. And what is carbon offset? Basically carbon offset का मतलब ये होता है कि आपने कहीं पे दूसरी जगह पे काम किया, एमिशन आपने किया, आपने किसी दूसरे को पैसा दिया, जो हम ये करते हैं ना कार्बन क्रेडिट ट्रेडिंग में. एक जगह आपने एमिशन किया, दूसरी जगह पे किसी ने कोई प्रोजेक्ट लगाया, देन यू हैव बॉट दैट सर्टिफिकेट फ्रॉम देम इज कॉल्ड कार्बन ऑफसेट. So this process is known as carbon offsetting. Okay. And what is carbon sequestration? So basically there is a small difference in carbon offset and carbon sequestration. कि carbon sequestration में हम क्या करते हैं कि हमने कोई ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट या हमने कोई ऐसी एक्टिविटी वी हैव डन जिसमें कार्बन एमिशन नहीं होता है, इनफैक्ट इसमें कार्बन एब्जॉर्प्शन होता है. लाइक हमने पेड़ लगाए, तो प्लांटेशन का काम क्या है, प्लांट क्या करता है, एनवायरमेंट से कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड को लेता है, CO2 में से O2 को छोड़ता है, एंड C जो है कार्बन को स्टोर कर लेता है अपने अंदर, अपने रूट्स में, या फिर उससे धीरे धीरे ग्रो होता है. सो वो जो कार्बन होता है धीरे धीरे स्टोर होना उसमें शुरू हो जाता है. दैट इज द प्रोसेस दैट इज कॉल्ड कार्बन सिक्वेस्ट्रेशन. हर एक्टिविटी हर की अलग अलग चीज होती है. लाइक मैंग्रोव्स है, जैसे हर प्लांट का अपना अपना कैपेसिटी होता है कि वो कितना कार्बन एब्जॉर्ब कर सकता है. ऑन एन एवरेज जो जितने भी प्लांट्स हैं 40 to 50 kg के आसपास, फुली ग्रोन प्लांट जो होता है 40 to 50 kg के आसपास कार्बन स्टोर करता है ऑन एन ईयरली बेसिस. सो वन थिंग आप लोग समझ लीजिए कि प्लांटेशन इज अ वेरी गुड थिंग. प्लांटेशन से कार्बन रिमूवल होता है, कार्बन स्टोरेज होता है, और यू कैन से कार्बन सिक्वेस्ट्रेशन होता है. बट जो हम सोचते थे आज से पहले कि, या फिर आप लोग पहले से पता होगा कि उतना अमाउंट में नहीं होता है. ओनली 40 to 50 kg पर फुल्ली ग्रोन ट्री ही होता है. किसी में 30 kg के आसपास भी होता होगा, किसी में 60 होता होगा. ऑन एन एवरेज 40 to 50 kg के आसपास होता है. सो द नंबर ऑफ ट्रीज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इफ वी आर growing only 2 or 3 trees, it is not हेल्पफुल. नंबर ऑफ ट्रीज हमें लगाने पड़ेंगे, एंड नंबर ऑफ ट्रीज को हमें कटने से रोकना पड़ेगा. देन ओनली वी कैन बी एबल टू सिक्वेस्ट्रेट द कार्बन विच वी आर एमिटिंग ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस. सो कार्बन सीक्वेस्ट्रेशन ये होता है कि हमने कार्बन एनवायरमेंट से लिया और हमने उसको कहीं पे स्टोर कर दिया. आजकल ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजीज भी आई हैं. देयर आर टेक्नोलॉजीज अवेलेबल विच कैन एब्जॉर्ब द कार्बन फ्रॉम एटमॉस्फेयर एंड सिंक उसको फिर किसी पर्टिकुलर मशीन में उसको सिंक करके उसको स्टोर कर सकते हैं. देन देयर इज अ वन थिंग दैट इज कॉल्ड मैंग्रोव्स. यस वी हैव. सो जितने भी ये मैंग्रोव्स होते हैं, मैंग्रोव्स की जो कैपेसिटी होती है बहुत ज्यादा होती है एज कम्पेयर टू द फुल्ली ग्रोन ट्रीज. सो उन मैंग्रोव्स अगर हम लगाते हैं, मैंग्रोव्स बेसिकली क्या होते हैं, जो हमारे सी शोर्स या फिर नदियों के आसपास जो प्रे टाइप के नहीं होते जिसमें पानी में रहते हैं, उसको मैंग्रोव्स बोलते हैं. उनकी जो कैपेसिटी होती है वो बहुत अच्छी होती है. एंड इवन यू कैन, आपको शायद पता हो ना हो, जो हमारा ओशन है, ओशन भी काफी अच्छा कार्बन सिंक है. वो भी बहुत अच्छे लेवल पे काफी अच्छे अमाउंट में कार्बन को. यस अपूर्वा साहू जी, आई विल शेयर ऑल दिस थिंग्स विद यू. सो ओशन भी एक काफी अच्छा, ओशन इज ऑल्सो अ वेरी गुड टाइप ऑफ कार्बन सिंक अवेलेबल naturally. Then there are some DACs technologies, direct air capture. They basically what they do, they just capture the carbon from the atmosphere and store with some technologies available, but it is very expensive. So all these types of things can be used, and the best one is the plantation. Although it is per plant it is very low, but on a large scale it can be very helpful and it is very easy to there. So carbon sequestration is the main thing which we should target. And yes, we can use carbon offset to become carbon neutral, but we are not net zero. On the net zero part, we should be reducing our carbon emission to zero on an actual basis, right? Now, as I have told you, there are different types of carbon registries available across the world, like VCS, Verified Carbon Standard, Gold Standard. Then there are some voluntary carbon standards also, Clean Development Mechanism, CDMs. All these are basically the carbon registries in which you have to register your project in order to get the carbon credits from them. And similarly, if you want to buy carbon credits for your organization to become carbon neutral, you can buy from these registries. And apart from these registries, there are also 3-4 registries are also there. You can get the certificates from those registries. So these are basically work as a stock exchange trading system. They just yes, we have to identify the different types of registries which are getting these projects being registered within there. So these registries have different types of standards available with them. They works in different types of registries so that you can get the carbon credits from them, both purchase also and sale also. So as per the requirement, you can do this. The best one, or you can say the most internationally used, are the Gold Standard and the CDM. So these registries can be utilized for the carbon trading system. These are the basic environmental benefits, like how we can reduce the greenhouse gases, we can promote the renewable energy, and we can improve the biodiversity at our organization. There are many benefits of the carbon trading system, like it is very cost effective also. It generates the revenue, and basically it provides the financial support for that type of project which avoid or which absorbs the carbon from the atmosphere. If they don't have that financial support with them, then it would be very difficult for them to implement those projects and reduce the carbon emissions. Then there is a market mechanism which is being done at the international level. Then there are some social benefits also, and then how we can develop our community around ourselves, so that there be some creation of jobs and infrastructure, and there are many health benefits. You all know that it would be very beneficial for us if the carbon trading system is implemented and being supported as per the requirement. Now, the main part, how we can calculate the carbon credits. Basically, you have to first assess the emissions of your organization. How much of emissions your project is doing. So for that, I'll just share one Excel sheet which we use, so that you can understand to assess your carbon emission. Just wait a second, I'll just share the Excel sheet with you. Okay, so as you can see that these types of inventories are available with us. We do provide, or you can assess your organization's different types of activities as per the scope 1, 2 and 3, and you can measure the amount of fossil fuel or amount of electricity you are using, or amount of water or waste you are generating. So these all data should be available with you when you are going to assess the carbon footprint of your organization. For example, if you can see here, we have a list of fuels with us, like if they are biofuels, or if they are biomass, or even if they are biogas. Then we have the units with us, that in which what are the units we should be calculating all those fuels. Then there are this fourth column, you can see there is the factor. This factor is basically the emission factor, and if you are going to put the amount of fuel which you have utilized in diesel in the generators, or in the boilers, or in the different activities of your organization, you have to put the data here. Like if you are using 40 kgs of 40 liters of bioethanol, then it will basically converted into the 0.36 kgs of carbon oxide CO2 equivalent, or you can say GHG. Similarly, if I am using biogas at my organization and it is 480 tons, then it will be calculated into the 583.29 kgs of CO2 equivalent. These are the emissions factors which are being provided by the greenhouse gas protocols. There, similarly, we have the same for the different types of fuels like CNG, LNG, LPG, natural gas, aviation, diesel, burning oil, fuel gas, naphtha. So all these types of. So basically, these greenhouse gas GHG factors are being provided by GHG protocols only, and due to the sorry Kamalji, we cannot share this sheet with you because this is the bread and butter of ours. But yes, we can help you in calculating these things. So these, I just saw a question that why it is 1 and why it is 0.0444. So basically the thing is that there are some gases available which have the ability to produce more carbon emissions, and there are some fuels which have the ability to produce less carbon emissions. So as per their burning factor and the emissions, these factors are being provided by the GHG protocol after a lot of research. So these things, if I am using LPG at my organization and I am having 680 kg liters of LPG, then it basically comes down to 1058.82 kgs of CO2. Yes, also some version is also available in USPA website. Yes, of course. So this is the basic type of thing. Similarly, if we are going for the electricity, we have to choose the different types of country. And if you are selecting the country at yours, like in India, we have to just we have to select India, and this is the global emission factors, and these are the transmission and distribution factors. And similarly, if we have done the renewable energy contract, we have to put our amount and all these things here, and we can get the total emission factors over here. So in this type of things, we can have the total emission factors or the total GHG emissions within our organizations. Similarly, we have the different types of for the different types of cars. Like if the car is small, if it is medium car, it is average car, large car, and what types of fuel it is being used, like hybrid vehicle, battery, EV, then diesel, then petrol, hybrid, CNG, LPG. So all this type of fuel size we have with us, and we can as per the total distance run by a particular car, we can calculate the amount of carbon which is emitted. So in this way, we basically control or make the inventory of any particular organization, and after getting the whole calculation with us, we can have that yes, our organization has emitted 585 metric tons of CO2 in 2024. Now we are basically in minus 585 carbon credits. So in order to become a carbon neutral organization, we have to go in different types of registry, and we have to identify, yes, these types of carbon credits we have to, this much amount of carbon credits we have to buy in terms of to become carbon neutral. We will buy 585 carbon credit from different organizations, like 50 from one, 85 from other, 75 from third party. Then these types of, we have to get total 585 credits, and once we have all these 585 credits with us, we can claim that we are carbon neutral. So this is the basic concept of carbon neutrality. I hope I am very much clear and you have understood all these things. So I'll just share this slide again with you. So the first part is we have to identify the baseline emission of our organization or our project. Then we have to measure the project emission from the different types of methodologies are there. We can have our own methodology, like the Excel sheet which I have shared with you, and similar types of other emissions factors are also available in the different types of websites. So in order to achieve the carbon neutrality, you have to check whether your registry approves which type of emission factors and which type of standard. So as per their requirement, you just calculate your emissions of your organization. Then you have to determine that how much of carbon credits are required. For example, you can say if the baseline emissions of your are 1 lakh tons of CO2, then the project, if you are going to make a project which is having only 70,000 tons of CO2, that means your baseline was 1 lakh tons of CO2 and your project has, after doing all the activities, it has come down to 70,000 tons of CO2. Then you have done 30,000 tons of reduction by different types of initiatives, like you have converted DG to CNG or different types of vehicles to EV vehicles. In these initiatives, you have reduced 30,000 tons of carbon dioxide emission at your organization. Then you will be having 30,000 carbon credits with you, and you can sell it in different types of registry. But before doing that, you should be registered in any particular registry. Then there are different types of requisites are there. They will verify the emission reduction of your project. Then after the verification and the audits and the certification of the registry, you can sell these 30,000 carbon credits of yours to different organizations. Then there are different types of requirements are there, like the quantity of the reduction which you are applying for the credits are different. Then the quality is also different, like a plantation or afforestation type of project is having a good quality of carbon credits. Even nowadays the renewable energy carbon credits are not that much good quality. So some registries are also having the they are not basically allowing new renewable energy projects for this carbon credit system. So there are many standards or many regulations from the different registries of theirs to calculate the quality and the quantity of the carbon credits, and you can sell as per the requirement, or even you can buy the carbon credit. So carbon credit is basically 1 metric ton reduction or the emission of carbon within your organization by scope 1 or 2 or 3 emissions. So these are the basic calculation methodologies of carbon credits. And if basically इसकी जो pricing है, pricing depends on the markets availability and the supply and demand of the carbon market. So it is basically simple business. How much of carbon credit is required by the buyer depends on the how much available in the market, and the cost would be the as per the requirement only. So during the pricing of the carbon credits, there are different types of projects costs are also involved. So when a seller is calculating their own cost, now they try to calculate all those developing cost, validating and verifying cost, or audit cost, and the registration cost. All these should be involved, taken care while calculating your own credit price. So कार्बन ट्रेडिंग इंडिया में स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ है, बट ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड तो स्टार्ट है. You can use this in the foreign registries. So basically what we have understood today, what is the sustainability, what are the different types of greenhouse gases available, how we can assess those gases, what are the different terminologies being used in the GHG or the carbon credit system, and how we can assess our GHG and calculate our carbon credits, or which are in the positive or in the negative, and how we can become carbon neutral. So I hope I have made my points very clear to you. And if there are any things which are required, now you can contact us anytime. And now we can have the question and answer. Yes, question and answer part, so that we can clarify all your doubts, so that we can you can learn something from here. Yes, Khevna, you can take the questions one by one.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Anshu, sir. I request everyone to ask the questions whatever they have to the sir, and we'll have an open discussion forum for the session.
Khevna, I would request you can just ask one by one, so that there is no confusion among the participants. You just name the person and they will ask their questions.
Right, sir. So currently we have in a chat for a few of our questions like that. So maybe I start with yes, the Apurva Sahu.
No, basically means I have asked some of the questions during the session itself, and one query I have Pushpendra has said it again. Like, what was the the reference source or the reference point for the thumb rules or the figures and the factors which we are assuming? So if you can just put up that in the chat link or somewhere, or just mention that, it will be great.
Okay, so I think you asked the question about the carbon absorption rate of the plants, na?
Yeah, 40 to 50 kg you mentioned. So
Yeah.
or any other like the factors which you mentioned. So what is the source of that, so that we can also refer them and quote them in future if needed.
Yeah, so for the emission factors which have provided in the Excel sheet are from the GHG protocol itself. You can take that from the GHG protocol's website also. And for the plants, I have given the basic average of a particular fully grown plants. If you are going to ask about a particular plant like a peepal tree or a neem tree or a banyan tree, so they are having a different types of absorption.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you
because even some of the plants which people use for sequestration, there are different varieties, so they must be having different absorption quantity.
Of course. But basically it is around 40-50 kg. Even if you can say on a very higher side, it can be 70, 80 or 100 kgs. It is not more than that.
Okay. Okay. So just if anyone else is not having some question, can I continue?
You can continue. No issues.
Yeah. So means just the other side, like you said that planting trees and all are one of the ways how we can become carbon neutral or that. So if 40 to 50 or even 70 kg per tree per year, isn't it very low? So means achieving net neutrality and all these only by planting trees won't be possible. There need to be other measures also.
Of course, basically, only planting trees is not a solution. There are a lot of things which have to be done on us simultaneously. Like we should be reducing our wastage. The first and most important thing which I have understood within my career is the overconsumption is the major issue across the world. If we reduce our consumption part in each and everything, like in food, we are over consuming the food and we are wasting a lot of things. The water, we are wasting a lot of water.
Very true. But then consumption, very correctly you said that overconsumption is one of the biggest problem. But then every manufacturer, or you say the industry, they will be benefited if you consume more. So there is a very contradicting position that at one end the organizations want to become carbon neutral, but yet they want to sell their products. Like for example, I'll say take the example of mobiles. The mobile consumption or the production might take a lot of carbon release. So the mobile industry is pushing use every new model now and then, and they are forcing to consume a lot more, as you are saying. Whereas so there is very contradictory situation in the market. So isn't the policy or something also is very much needed if we think for the neutrality?
Yeah, of course, policy is the major is having the major say in the reduction of carbon emissions. But at the same time, no government or no no country can say that you are not allowed to manufacture your products.
True.
It is basically the right of
Economy will
the organization. It is the basic right that I want to produce, but it should be from the consumer itself that we don't require this particular thing, and if the consumption is low, then that product would also be low produced.
But there should be certain policies for the buyback of the used or the used product, like say for the plastic bottles which are being used after use. There are
as I've already mentioned that there is a rule, EPR rule already in place, extended producers responsibility, which is basically trying to mitigate
these buyback norms.
Mitigate the this wastage thing of basically packaging or batteries or used tires. All these things have to be taken care by the producers itself. So all these are the mechanism already trying to be enforced on the organizations itself. And the main motto about that is that they are going government is trying to make the producers itself responsible for the collection of their products after the consumption.
Okay. Fine.
So
Thank you.
They are trying. The government is trying, and it is our responsibility to understand the rule and try to implement it as per the main core of its.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Apurvaji. You can contact us on the given numbers anytime for anything.
Sure.
Next
we hear from R.K. Mishra.
Yes, Mishra ji.
I think he left. So you just take the question of the Mishra.
Yes. So his question was: can we get carbon credit by utilization of waste heat for power generation from WHRB, as it reduces the use of fossil fuel for power generation from boiler?
Yes, of course. There are different types of registries available for different types of projects. Like CDP may allow you for this project, and the gold standard may not allow you. So you have to just take from the standard registry itself, and if they are allowing, yes, you can get the carbon credit from that particular use of waste to energy plant. But you have to show that how much of carbon you have avoided by this.
Next we had from S. Ravichandran. Is he here?
Yes. This is R.K. Mishra.
Yes,
Thank you very much for your suggestion. And I want to know, you are saying right now we have to register somewhere. Where it should be the register for the registration? What should be done from our side?
So basically, for the registration first, as I mentioned in the class itself, that we have to check the baseline of our organization project, that how much amount of emissions which we are going to reduce or get avoid for producing equal amount of electricity from a thermal power plant, and from our power plant how much emission is currently being produced.
Yes,
So
yes.
after the reduction, we can after having the verification of the assessment, we can approach the registry that this is the project which we have implemented to reduce the carbon emission, and this is the calculation which we have with us. Then they will verify that particular thing, and if they feel yes, it is verifiable and it can be registered with their registry, then surely they will give you the carbon credits for that particular project.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Got it. But where we should be registered?
You can be registered in CDP also, in the gold standard also.
Okay. Thank you.
Or you can contact me in the future. We can help you in that.
Sure, sir. We will in touch with you.
Okay. So can you just let me know which type of waste to energy plant is there?
Sorry?
Where is your waste to energy plant? You are having it, or it is basically?
No. We are the steel industry players,
Okay.
and we have the WHRV, best heat recovery boilers, and we
Okay.
utilize the heat generated from our DRI kilns, sponge iron plants. So whatever the heat generated from the kilns, we use it in WHRV's best heat recovery boiler for the generation of power, captive power generation. And that's why I was eager to know what type of credit, whether we can get a credit for
So even if
generating the power from waste heat for WHRVs.
So I think since you are in the steel industry, so there is a lot of carbon emissions are being produced by your activities only, and
Yeah.
the amount of carbon emission which you are avoiding through your project is would be quite low. It would be very helpful in reducing the carbon emission, or you can say carbon offsetting of your plant. But I don't think that you avoid that much amount of carbon emission to be registered in the carbon registry.
No, we
But
can't
still,
right,
but yeah,
because a lot of fossil fuels, carbon, coal, coke, and other dolochars, such type of fossil fuels are using for the process operation for making the steel. But as far as the heat generation is concerned, we are utilizing most of the heat generated from our sponge iron process for the generation of captive power. I think it should be just I want to take a suggestion from your side whether we can go for a registration to get a credit.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course we can go.
Okay, sir. Okay, Ansuji, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now there was a question from Mr. S. Ravichandran that is carbon trading started in India? No, not yet. It is not started as on date in India, but it is in process. And if we require to trade our carbon credits, or you can say buy or purchase, then there are different registries available or at an international level, so we can use that thing also. Any other question apart from this, Ravichandran ji?
Yes, one we have from the CA Abhirup. Is he here? I'll just narrate his question. Like, in case of EV cars, carbon emission calculation is reduced of buying CO, but for manufacturing company, carbon emission will be higher because of batteries. So
Right.
basically, liability is shifting from one company
To another.
instead of actually getting reduced.
So yes, Abhirup ji, basically it is carbon is being emitted while producing the batteries now, but on a longer run, if you can check, the EVs cars have the ability to reduce the carbon emission, or you can say to avoid the carbon emission.
One more question is from Chirag Yadav. Is he here? So, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Please ask your question.
Okay, ma'am. Sir, I think both electric and diesel vehicle are producing carbon. So
Yeah,
how
of
we
course.
can reduce this in short period of time?
So first of all, the diesel is the most bad fuel, you can say. You
Yes,
can
sir.
first you can shift from diesel to petrol, then petrol to CNG, and CNG to battery EVs. EVs, yes, produce the emission
Carbon.
while the manufacturing itself. But after the manufacturing, on a longer run, you can say 4 to 5 years of the life now, it reduces the lot amount of carbon as compared to the diesel, petrol, and even the CNG. And during the, if we are using the CNG and EVs now, this would be the best thing. CNG is because nowadays in India now, we produce CNG from the wet waste of organizations and the household in the different biogas plants. So it is quite easily available, and it is most efficient of all the fuels
Okay, sir. Thank you.
as compared to LPG, diesel, and all these things.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
One more
Yes.
thing, Anshuji.
Yes.
One more thing. Sometimes we are the Ministry of Environment and Forest asking for carbon banking, and just in this meeting we have told there is no carbon trading started in India right now. So far, and how we can take an opportunity for carbon banking.
For carbon trading,
Banking.
Yeah. Okay, so there are basically it is in the process. The carbon trading system is in the process of developing some standards in India, and for that we can have the emission statements with us, and we can try to help all these emission statements from other registries itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I think in the couple of years from now, there would be some trading system in the near future in India. There are drafts are being already prepared, and different types of policies, or you can say advocacies, is going on at the national level.
Have you shown up it?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Hmm.
ठीक है.
You can say in a couple of years it can be there.
जी.
But we have to be ready for that. We have to calculate our emissions. We have to get the data from all our vendors and all the departments and activities. And the most important part is all the data which we are providing should be verifiable and auditable. We should be having evidence of each activity. If we are saying that we have utilized 48 liters of diesel on that particular day, then we should be having evidence for that, like fuel bill or any data or anything. If a particular vendor is saying that we have traveled to your location 5 times in January 24, then they should be having data for that.
Okay.
So each data should be backed up by some evidence. So the first important thing is train your organization, your vendors, your supply chain, your suppliers, each and everyone to collect and get the data as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
One question we have from Suresh Babu. Is he here? I'll narrate. Biomass fuel used for boilers. Are there any emission factors defined or aligned by the Indian government?
Not at now, but you can use GHG protocols. As I have shared the screen with you now, there was low for the biomass also. There was emission factor and there is an available in the GHG protocols, but there is no particular standard emission factor for biomass in provided by Indian government. Then there is a question from Ruturaj Singh. If some profitable business emitting carbon dioxide and they don't want investment, then why they register in this type of platforms? So basically, it is mandatory for some countries and some organizations that they have to become carbon neutral, or they have to give some deadline target that how much of carbon they are going to reduce in that particular time. After that only they can get the investment, or there are some rules and regulations made by different countries, or you can say United Nations also. It is mandatory for them to reduce the carbon. For example, oil and gas is field is the most polluted sector, and they are the most profitable also. But they have the mandatory requirement from international bodies and national bodies also to become carbon neutral or give the deadline for targets. Similarly, each country have to give the targets to United Nations, as India have given its own target by 2070. China has given by 2050. European Union has given by 2045. So this type of target dates have to be provided by each and every organization and country. It is mandatory for them. That is the reason they have to invest in some projects or of carbon offsetting, or they have to do some carbon sequestration at their own end also. Then there is a question from Yash Saudaraji, how can we pursue our career in this field of carbon credit? So basically, for the starting, you have to understand what are the different types of terminologies available there. How you can calculate, you have to get some internships or training, or you can hands-on experience in the carbon accounting assessment, carbon accounting projects. Then you can understand the registration process in different types of registry, verification process of the carbon credits, then the trading system. So you have to become a part of different assignments, and yes, so in this type you can become a carbon credit professional, or you can say carbon professional. Now Abhirup ji have a question, that is emission from AC covered under this scope. So basically it comes under the scope 1, because the AC is owned by the company. If it is not owned by your company and it is being provided by the third party to your organization, then it comes under the scope 3. But if AC is owned by you, then it comes under scope 1. So how to, there is a question I can discuss with this question, is that how to calculate the amount of greenhouse gas emitted by AC. So basically there are some fugitive emissions from ACs and other devices. So when you are getting your AC compressor refilled, so you have to just get that invoice from your vendor that how much amount of AC is, how much amount of gas is being refilled in the compressor. So that much amount of gas which is refilled is emitted in the air. So that is your emission. Yeah. Yes, yes, there are different types of course available, online also, offline also, and you can get those courses in the World Bank or United Nations website also. GHG protocol also providing some courses. You can start from there only. Okay, I think the question has been clarified from all the questions has been clarified from my side.
Yeah,
Sir,
doctor, one last question from my side. Sorry, I already posted one message that though I was traveling, I still logged into the this session, and I attended multiple session, but this session was really insightful. During the session, you clarified most of the things which I am I have in the mind, and thanks for that. That I request one posted into the group that can we get the recording, because in between I missed something that I have to catch up to get all the insights. Last question from my side. We have a corporate office in the Pune, and we do have the employee buses also, which is on the lease model. And employee travel by car. So, for example, 120 cars in my premises. So, these cars are owned by employee itself. Will it be captured into the scope 1 emission or not?
no, this will be in the scope 3 emission.
Okay, scope 3. And the buses also will be in the scope 3, right?
Yes, because they are on the lease model.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Sorry, I
Fine.
think you will get the recording, and Kevna will share the link with you. Even in case
Yeah.
in the case or any clarification, you can contact Dr. Priyanka or myself on the number
Sure.
provided.
Yeah. Thanks for your great help, doctor. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Mr. Vinayak, will you please share your email ID? I'll share the recording.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I'll reply to that invite email only. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. Thank you, doctor, and thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Vinayji.
It was really a wonderful session.
Thank
A lot of
you.
insightful. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we are already overrun as per the time. Anshu, we can close. Kevna,
And yes, if we have no questions, then we can close the session.
I think rest question can be taken up one to one. And thank you everyone. Yeah, Kevna, you can close.
Thank you so much everyone to joining. Whoever wants